As for the question of a ransom note, TMZ reporting tonight, along with at least one other local media outlet here, that TMZ, received a ransom note. It did, according to TMZ, include details that are not known publicly.
We're going to begin our team coverage, though, with the latest on a ransom note that was sent to us by email here at KGUN 9 late this morning. Now, that ransom note also sent to several other media outlets, the email making specific demands for several $1 million in Bitcoin for the safe return of Nancy Guthrie.
Now, the sheriff did confirm that they have found DNA on the property, Nancy Guthrie's home, but he did not confirm the reporting of Fox Digital that DNA is comprised of blood drops. The sheriff did say, though, the only match they have so far found to any DNA found at the crime scene is to Nancy Guthrie herself.
It's the sheriff's helicopter that made a whole bunch of passes through this area, and you had a theory as to what they might have been looking for.
Well, it's interesting because, you know, way back in the day when I was a kid, a lot of these neighborhoods had, you know, dirt roads down the back of them. That's where the garbage trucks would come and pick up garbage.
Killed. The removal from the home is something you typically don't see with an elderly person. That strikes me as incredibly odd and something to focus on.
Since then, of course, with the automation of those mechanical arms, they've moved to the front of the house and the streets. But you wonder if there might be a path still left behind back there, and they're looking at that area.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear. Thoughts build up until I can't. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
So just 2 days after the abduction, it's actually a kidnapping now, on February 2nd, a ransom demand has been made, apparently a note and via email, several emails to several news stations. This strategy suggests to me that this was a targeted attack, that the abductor knows who Nancy is, knows who her family is, and this whole abduction, which is a kidnapping for ransom, was carefully planned and premeditated. By the way, kidnappings aren't easy. You have to take the abducted person somewhere, which means you need a vehicle, you need to go to a secure safe house, you need to feed them, clothe them, look after them. This often means you are dealing with multiple people, not just a lone wolf. This operation might involve a small team of criminals. I'll share with you why the ransom demands are regarded as legit in a second. I know my initial response to hearing about these multiple demands was that it was a sideshow con job, that cynical interlopers were trying to cash in on a tragedy. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case. Now, in a way, the demand is good news because it suggests Nancy may still be alive, and theoretically, if the family pay the demand and soon, that could save Nancy's life and the whole situation could be resolved without further incident. This ransom also makes Nancy valuable, alive, to the abductors, and probably a condition of the payment will be to demonstrate proof of life. There'll probably be negotiations taking place with the abductors also demanding that the police don't provide too much information about them, about the abductors. Now, what I also find quite interesting with this case is it demonstrates what a real kidnapping looks like. Number one, obvious forced entry determined quickly from the get-go. Number two, obvious disturbances inside the home and also evidence outside the home. Number three, the person is actually missing. Number four, the abductor is able to verify that they have the person. And there's, I guess, a series of communications with them. Number five, the kidnapper provides an address for something they want. This is a quid pro quo. This is a transaction. In this case, what they want is Bitcoin, likely posted to a particular account. And then number six, the kidnapper actually leaves traces of themselves. Now let's deal with the biggest clue of all, the ransom note. But before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If you're new to this channel, here's a quick 10-second bio. If you're finding this analysis worthwhile, please do hit the thanks button and let's get started. Alright, the ransom note. According to AC Central, CBS News reported that its Tucson affiliate KOLD News received a ransom note for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today co-host Savannah Guthrie, as the search for the missing 84-year-old widened. And that happened on Tuesday. According to CBS, Pima County Sheriff's Department investigators analyzed the letter, and they're taking it seriously, and they've shared it with the FBI, whose agents decided to share it with the NBC host. So it was the FBI who decided to share it. Now, they must have made a call based on their own protocols, probably because what we're dealing with here is a time-sensitive matter. It's really important that this is resolved sooner than later, because Nancy needs certain medications. Now, I don't know if for sure we are dealing with a note written on paper, or if it's just lazy journalism that assumes an email is a note. We always talk about a ransom note. I think what this actually is a ransom communicated via email. But besides that, what makes the authorities believe that the note is legit? Well, the note, which KOLD received February 2nd, contains specific details about the home and what Nancy Guthrie was wearing that night. The report added that investigators wanted to keep the note private, and the Tucson station agreed not to broadcast any information about it. Now, according to the Daily Mail, the desperate hunt for Nancy Guthrie took a dramatic twist on Tuesday, that's yesterday, with investigators now probing possible ransom notes. Pima County Sheriff's Office acknowledged a ransom note sent to TMZ as well. And that adds an interesting twist. 2 ransom demands sent to 2 different destinations. And that was on Tuesday afternoon, 3 days after the 84-year-old was snatched from a $1 million home in Tucson, Arizona, in the middle of the night. Tucson TV station KOLD said they, as you know, also received a ransom demand. Now, this is the critical question. It's unclear if both notes are the same. Obviously, if they are the same, they're from the same source and legit, and this demonstrates the seriousness of the perpetrators. If not, then one might be bogus. Now, according to the Daily Mail, TMZ reported that the note, which it said it could not verify as being sent by the abductors, demanded millions in Bitcoin for the release of the 84-year-old. The outlet said that the note demanded the Bitcoin be sent to a specific cryptocurrency address, which has been verified as a real Bitcoin address. The note concluded with a deadline for the ransom to be paid or else. TMZ said that it included details unknown to the public, including damage caused to Nancy's home and what she was wearing at the time of her abduction. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos did not verify the contents of either note in his statement. I do think in time, probably the contents of this note will be revealed, and that certainly will be interesting. And the length of the note will probably also be interesting. During a press conference on Tuesday afternoon, he twice refused to answer when asked if ransom demands had been made. Now the question is, when will the ransom demands be met? And so the question is, why are the authorities being so coy about the ransom demands? Well, possibly because that was part of the demands of the kidnappers, that they don't discuss the contents of the note. Another question is, how come the ransom was kept private and then not? Did someone leak the ransom demand without express permission? As I've said, I think the reason is this is a time-sensitive case, and perhaps the authorities feel they need to put pressure on the kidnappers to resolve this sooner than later. But the other thing is, if you send a ransom demand to the press, to the media, well, that is the risk you run, that it might not remain confidential.
More dire, but I want to show you what we've been able to see at the scene here. They finished processing this as a crime scene, which means we've had better and more access to seeing the front of the house. One thing for sure is that the Ring doorbell camera appears to be missing from the front of the home.
Now let's deal with crime scene photos. Forced entry was apparently through a door because there were signs that the door had been forced open, but apparently not this door, not the front door where blood evidence was found. The removal of the camera indicates a level of alacrity and awareness that indicates amateurs aren't involved here. This clothing item, if it belongs to one of the perpetrators, could provide valuable DNA evidence.
Well, Mom, you guys came here in the 70s and you'd been moving all around. What made you want to stay in Tucson and plant roots?
It's so wonderful. Just the air, the quality of life is laid back and gentle. Yeah, I like to watch the javelina eat my plants.
And that brings us to Nancy's all-too-accessible digital footprint. When I visited Nancy's Facebook last night, I was alarmed by just how open and accessible it was to me, to a stranger. Within a minute, I was inside her home. I was seeing pictures of her family, scenes inside her kitchen, and also pictures with her famous daughter. I'm not a celebrity myself, but I've had some scary moments because my social media was open, too open. And so my advice to you is don't wait until something happens before you set yours to private. Set it to private now, especially Facebook, and carefully curate who you allow in to view your content. Even with all that, don't be too obvious about where you are, who you are, what you have, I guess, or if you are planning a trip and even where or when you are going. This is definitely an area that people are vulnerable in, and so please learn a lesson through what has happened. Also, if you've got an elderly relative, someone who's on social media a lot, especially Facebook, maybe you need to go and have a look at their Facebook and take the appropriate countermeasures. Make sure that they are protected. Make sure that they are not vulnerable. Well, I'm not going to take it further than that, but I do have a question for you. What do you think? If there was a kidnapping and a ransom note, would you say that this is a targeted incident or not? We have heard like an official report where they said there's no credible information indicating that this was a targeted incident. And I have a lot of thoughts in addition to those that I've shared here in terms of this whole idea of a targeted incident. The social media is also something that plays into that. Well, thank you for listening to this episode, and I'll see you guys next time.